Okay. Welcome to Politics NY with Sky. Schneps Media is asking each candidate running for New York City office this year 3 questions in 3 minutes. Zach.
I will try and keep it to 3 minutes. I'm long-winded. I'm sorry. We're already going over. Look at that.
And I'm here with Zach Iscol. He is running to be the next New York City Comptroller.
Yeah, I was running for mayor, and then we didn't drop out, Sky. We jumped up to the comptroller's race. We shifted over to the comptroller's race in January.
Okay, so Zach Iscol here thought he wanted to be the mayor, but he's going to be the next controller. So
You heard it here first.
Tell us about yourself and why you're running to be the controller.
Yeah, great question. Just first off, thanks for having me on. Thanks for this service that you're providing. Everybody should be tuning into your show because this is one of the most vital elections in the history of New York City. New mayor, new controller, at least 37 new city council members. We have a real opportunity to get the bench right, to have a remarkable leadership team taking the city into the future. In terms of running for controller, a lot of people don't know what the controller's job is. Some people call it the comptroller. Some people call it the controller. There's not even agreement on how to pronounce the title. But the way I look at it is the job of the comptroller is to make sure the city doesn't leave anybody behind. The job of the controller is to make sure city agencies are doing their job, that your tax dollars are going to solving problems, are going to the people of the city and not going to special interests, taking care of our pensioners, making sure the pension fund is well invested, but really making sure that this city is working effectively. And in my career, I'm somebody who's never left somebody behind. I can say I've done that in combat. I've never left somebody behind in combat. I led troops through some of the heaviest combat of the Iraq War. Coming home from that war, when we left behind our translators, I made sure we didn't. I testified for the United States Senate to establish a special immigrant visa that's helped over 100,000 people immigrate to the US. When I started to lose more of my Marines to suicide than I did in combat, I started one of the leading nonprofit providers of mental health care in the entire United States. We're taking care of 800 to 1,000 veterans every single week. And I'm very proud to say we have not lost a single veteran to suicide in almost a decade through that program called the Headstrong Project. And at the height of COVID, I went to Javits Medical Center as a volunteer. A few days later, I was made the deputy director. I led the turnaround of Javits from empty beds into one of the only successful COVID field hospitals. Actually there yesterday getting my vaccine. The team has now vaccinated something like 330,000 people. I'm incredibly proud of them. But I'm somebody throughout my career has made sure that I have never left somebody behind, that our government hasn't left somebody behind, and I'm running for comptroller to make sure this city doesn't leave anybody behind.
Now, Zach, how do you compare to some of the competitors in this race for controller who have big backgrounds in government finance, having worked in the state or at the city level, dealing with budget and finance?
Yeah. So first off, I have extensive experience in business. I have extensive experience in government, both in and out of the military, and I have extensive experience in the nonprofit sector. And I think that you need that broad experience in a job like controller, where you're not just doing the pension fund, you're not just auditing city agencies for their performance. But in addition to that, you're approving all city contracts, right? If you're approving city contracts for businesses and the nonprofits that provide and deliver services to the city, you better know how to manage a P&L or read a P&L. You better know how to look at a budget to evaluate outcomes. I'm the only one in the field with that broad experience. And I think I'm the only one in the field that has managed anything of the size of the comptroller's office. There's about 800 employees. I've managed organizations that are much bigger than that, and I've managed organizations smaller than that. So I have also much more management experience, and this is an executive office with management responsibilities than anybody else in the field.
And what about getting along?
And also broad private sector experience, nonprofit experience, and government experience.
Yeah, you bring a lot of talents and perspectives to the table that are different than many of the competitors or many of the people.
Sorry, and I know you don't want me to be long-winded, but I would also add, I think one of the most important parts of this job is integrity. We need somebody of the highest integrity in this office, somebody who is not going to use this to score political points or to get votes, but who is going to ruthlessly make sure the city does its job. And again, I think if you look at my career, whether it's in combat, out of combat, at the height of the COVID crisis here in New York City, I have shown that I operate with the highest levels of integrity, and I will do everything I can to use that office to help lead New York's recovery from this pandemic.
And now what I was going to ask you is about partners in government, right? who do you have allies in government? Do you know who to turn to on day one at the city level to with the agencies or whoever your partners will be? Do you know who your friends are?
Well, look, in politics, I don't think you ever know who your friends are. In government, absolutely. You know, at Javits Medical Center, we had 28 federal, state, and city agencies working there. Some of the best people I've worked with in my career. And throughout my career, one of the things I've had to do is figure out how to get people to work together, right? I did it as a young lieutenant in Iraq. I had about 400 Iraqi soldiers. Some of them were Sunni, some of them were Shia. Some of my Shia soldiers, Sky, were missing appendages, had physical scars that were given to them by family members of my Sunni soldiers. At Javits Medical Center, 28 federal, state, and city agencies working for the governor, the mayor, the president, the Department of Defense. There's no secret that the mayor, the governor, the president didn't really like each other. We were able to keep those politics from coming into the building in order to get the job done. A lot of wonderful people who work in government who want to be focused on a specific mission or outcome. And I have been doing that my entire career of bringing people together around a common cause and making sure we get the job done. And I'll do that as comptroller as well.
So there you go. You heard it all from Zach Iscol, running to be the next New York City Controller. And I'm Sky with Politics NY.